What's your name? Hanim. Huh? Hanim is. I love you. You gave everyone a hug. You know that's such goodness going around. Um, how hard was that? Just explaining who you are and what you do. Was that difficult? Was it? It was difficult. I've seen you. I'll come and you owe me a question when we're doing the panel session. But was it so gut-wrenching for you to turn around and say your name and what you do? What, by the again, let's participation. Was it hard? Gut-wrenching? Did you sweat? Are you feeling horrible after? Okay, you are hugging. You did extra, so you're sweating. Just keep that in mind. As Christine said, it's what, 1 minute. It can't be that hard. So I think we have this perception in our heads that it's so hard. You need to prepare. You need to do this PowerPoint presentation. It's just your name and what you do. And then the conversation, clearly, as you've seen, takes on from there. Okay, so we have Wi-Fi password, and we know where the loser. Let's invite Carolyne Gadhuru to talk to us about communicating your worth. I'll tell you in 5 minutes. Hi, ladies. Hi. Can you hear me at the back? Yes. Great. Then I'll not use the mic. Oh, do I have to use it? Okay. So the recording won't happen if I don't use the mic. This is iHub, where tech happens. Yeah? So it's so fantastic to be here this morning, especially in a room full of women who have come to develop themselves so that they can make a difference in this world. Isn't that why you're here? Awesome place to be, awesome people. And today we are talking about communicating our worth. So for us to communicate our worth, it means we need to know who we are in order to communicate it. Because how will you communicate your worth? How will I communicate my worth if I don't know who I am? So I need to know who I am first, right? How do I know who I am? $1,000,000 question. So that then I can communicate my worth and communicate it well. Knowing who you are is not rocket science. I tell you, I worked for the longest time at the Nairobi hospital. I was in charge of marketing and customer experience and the charity programs, and I loved that job. You know how you just run to work? I would run to work because you're making a difference in the lives of people directly. You know when you work with people when they are so vulnerable and they live different, you also live different. So that job was, a job from the heart. And the charity programs that we would do with children, the hospital doesn't talk about this much, but they would do heart transplants for little children who have holes in their hearts. They'll do kidney transplants. You know how expensive these things are. One Jiko on the street cannot afford a heart transplant. So hospital would do work like this and do work with children in the villages and low-income urban areas. It was fantastic work. And then I got headhunted. I was chased and chased and chased. And this new job was a job that would give me experience in Africa because they had offices in Zambia, in Zimbabwe, in Ghana, in Ethiopia. And I thought, okay, I love my job at the hospital, right? But it's not giving me regional experience. I'm going to grow. I'm going to move on to Africa. And so I left. And I went to this job. And I also loved it. And I was working with young people. It was a tech company. And this Generation Y thing, I was getting it going. It was awesome. Oh, it was so awesome. But the leadership and governance issues there were something else. Say something else. Now that something else was so something else that I fled, I ran, I leapt, I jumped. Which other word shows like you have? I've left it. I left it. And because I left it and I leapt so far, I leapt totally out of employment. and into doing my own thing. Hiya! You mean there's life out here? Like what? Like what? You know, doing my own thing, started up a consulting firm, loving it, loving it, loving it. It was really good. It was fantastic. I had found myself. And then I asked myself, how is it that I found myself so much later? How is it that adversity is what got me to find myself? And then I thought, when I was at the hospital, loving this job, I wasn't clear why. Why did I love it so much? What was it that was making me run to work? The why of it. Because if I asked myself that question then, I'd have seen two things. One, what I really loved about that job was when I was talking to people. You know, talking to nurses, talking to doctors, talking to people about giving, you know, the patient a great experience even if they're unwell. I loved the talking part. I discovered that teacher lives in me somewhere. And then I also loved the part about children. Those children things we do there, really loved that. So there was the teaching part, the one talking to people, and then the children part. Do you know how I discovered this later on? See, now I'm doing my own thing, I have time. Because when you're doing your own thing, you have slightly more time than when you're under an employer's time. So now we're running this consulting firm. It's great. I have time. I've discovered, oh, yes, yes, yes. Love to talk to people. Love children. So we started this program in needy schools. Okay? It's called I Speak. Now, this is what I Speak does. We go to needy schools, needy. And then we teach children how to speak. Do you know what that means for a child? That they can get up and talk. It totally eradicates poverty from them. Because they can get up and say, Auntie Caro, I made these beads that look so good on you. Buy them for 200 shillings. Say, Auntie Caro will buy. How will that child sell if they can't speak? And they can't speak because they are poor, because poverty totally debilitates. You know how poverty makes you think you are nothing? Yeah. And so, I'm teaching children. Teaching children. You get? Yeah. And it's just so amazing. We are doing some work with children in Kibera. They come to Bagathi Road Primary School. And day one, you talk to children. They're all looking down. They can't look at you. They can't look at you. By lesson 3, what are they saying? Teacher Caro, choose me. Teacher Caro, choose me. And you know what that makes me feel? You know that Teacher Caro, choose me. Please fast forward. That is that child in an interview saying, I have the solution to what you want. Isn't that Teacher Caro, choose me? Yes. That is that young girl in the boardroom not looking down and saying, this is what we are going to do to take the company forward when the chairman asks, isn't it? And what does talking do for you as well? Do you see these children who say, Jina langu ni Caro, niko na shairi, and then the president pays their fees? You've seen those ones? So you've seen them? Hiya. Now, tell me, do you need capital to speak? You don't. Do you need to be a rich person's child to speak? You don't. So you can be that our child from Kibera to do that. Yeah. All you need is for Teacher Caro to tell you what? You can do it. So where am I going with this? I'm saying, for you to communicate your worth, you need to know who you are. How do you know who you are? It's your brand. It is you. There's a very cliche term that says personal brand, but it's true. What is your personal brand? It's just one thing. What do people say when you are not there? When you're not in the room, what are people saying? That's your brand. It is you. Whether you like it or you don't like it, what people say when you're not there, that is you. So how do you know? So you ask people. What do you like about me? What don't you like about me? What do you think I do well? What do you think I don't do well? Listen to that. And then draw this big circle and throw all of that in there. And then draw this big other circle and put in what you actually want. And then look at the gap between what are people saying, what do I want, and then bridge that. And create that brand. Create who you really are, because you cannot communicate your worth if you don't know who you are. Are we together so far? Yes. Great. So now we know who we are. And there's so many tools, so many tools. You know, this is the era of touch. Touch, find a tool, it'll help you know who you are. So you know who you are. How do you communicate it? How do you tell people about it? How do people know who you are, what your business is about, what you're selling, your services, your products? You need to communicate. Because there's nothing as bad as having a great thing going and you can't communicate. Tell people. Tell every single person on your phone book, this is who I am, this is what I do. Talk about it. But to talk about it, you must be clear. You need to have clarity. So how do we have clarity? You know the way corporates go for a retreat sometimes to Naivasha or Mombasa or wherever to have their vision and mission and their values and so on? That's you. You are brand you. You are your company. You are the CEO of yourself. Go for a retreat. That retreat can be in your house, in your room. Close the door. You're having a personal retreat. And in that retreat, please figure out, what's my vision? Ask Carol, where am I going? What's my mission? How am I going to get there? What are my values? Non-negotiable. I'm not negotiating on these things. Because then you'll be very clear about, this is fitting in my life, this is not fitting in my life, this is aligned to my vision, this is not. You have total clarity. And when you have clarity, then you're able to communicate and communicate confidently. And to communicate confidently, you need to practice. Okay, dear ladies? Practice. You need to be able to talk and mean it. You need to be able to talk and convince people. And if you're not able to do it, learn. You know, great communicators are not born. They're not born, they are made. They are made. You can make yourself communicate well. I am a Toastmaster. You've heard of Toastmasters? I urge you, if you're not a Toastmaster, become a Toastmaster. Find a Toastmasters club in Nairobi and join it. It will totally change your life, because it will allow you to communicate, to persuade with power, to inspire people, to speak and speak well, because you will have this great product, great service, great idea, great invention, and you'll not be able to talk about it. How sad is that? Okay? And practice, practice, practice. Remember, practice makes perfect? Yes. You think when Barack Obama stands there and says, oh, and people think, oh, you have a dream, you're the next Martin Luther. He didn't wake up and do that. The guy sweated bullets and practiced the whole night. It just doesn't come. You practice. So you know who you are, right? We are communicating effectively, right? Now, the last thing I want to say is this. People buy people. They don't buy products. They don't buy services. They buy people. They buy you. What are you selling? You know? What are you selling? Because no matter what your product is or what your service is, people are buying you. They are buying that you understand them. You're buying that you empathize with them. They are buying that you've thought through and walked in their shoes and developed a solution that fits them. They are buying that product because you have convinced them that this is right just for them, because you've understood what their needs are. They are buying the safety and security and freedom and trust and peace of mind, or whatever it is that your product or service is going to give them. They are buying you. And in the beginning, when you're an entrepreneur, you and the business are one. Your brand is the business, you are the business, you are the entrepreneur and the enterprise together. Later on, when you get systems and structures in place, and you're able to have people around you, then you start to seed. The business stops to become you, and it becomes the people around you. So what are your people selling? Are they selling the vision? Are they selling, what are they selling? Because people buy them, and totally so. You've seen the way a salon will start up, and that fancy guy is there, and everybody's going to him, and he talks so well, and his appointment book is so full, and then he moves. What happens? See, all the mamas move with him. Because they're not buying the sinks and the decor. They're buying that person, even if it's for hair. So people buy people. So what are we selling as we sell? We are selling ourselves, our brand, our vision, our mission, our understanding of who it is our customers are. And so as you sell, remember you're selling you, your people are selling that dream, and we must be totally plugged in. And as women, sometimes when we are selling and communicating our worth, we don't feel that we are worthy. That's how we are. We second guess ourselves, we wonder, we are not as confident, we are not clear that we are worthy. So therefore, to sell and sell our worth, we must feel worthy. We must understand that we are worthy. We must acknowledge that we are worthy, because really we are. You know what's talked about the confidence gap? A colleague of mine gave a speech at a Toastmasters meeting that I thought, yeah. So beyond just speaking at Toastmasters, I can tell you the things you grab from people's speeches. She was talking about a TED Talk by Reshma Shaujan, who was talking about we need to teach girls bravery and not perfection. Because girls are taught, don't get dirty, your dress needs to be like this, you need to sit in one place, your hair should not be out of place. You know those lessons? Yeah. And then guys are taught what? Go jump off the tree, do this, be brave, get dirty, score the goals. That's what they're taught. And so the confidence gap grows and grows because we're not bold and brave to jump out and do things and try them and take risks and so on and so forth. So we need to change that narrative, because sitting here in the room are mothers and friends and aunts and sisters and mentors, and we have so many young women around us who need to seal that confidence gap, break it. We need to go out there and do stuff. I have 2 boisterous boys. What? I think little boys should come with a manual. The manual should have only 1 page, and what should be on that page? No. No. No, you may not jump from, no. No, you may not eat a gecko. No. No, 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 no. No. And they will still go ahead and try out these things. But we are told no as women, and we stop there. We don't go out and try these things. So let's go out, try these things, seal that confidence gap, and get going. So please remember the 3 things. When we are communicating our worth, know who you are. Communicate it confidently. Remember that people buy people. So you must communicate your worth, and you must know you are worthy. There isn't anyone who's not worthy. When you exit from your mother's womb, everybody says, oh, wow, beautiful baby, you're so worthy. You're worthy from the moment you came. I don't know where that disappears. We are worthy. So you must communicate the worth, because you know you're worthy. Are we together? Yes. So let me tell you what I want to say last. It is a beautiful quote. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's by this guy for Chicken Soup for the Soul. You know that one? He says, the more your self-worth goes up, the more your net worth goes up. The more your self-worth goes up, the more your net worth goes up. Because people buy your confidence, they buy that you're beautiful on the inside, they buy that you're bold, they buy the belief you have in yourself. That's what people buy. And then they listen to what you're selling. Sawa, ladies? Great. Please tell the person next to you, you are worthy. You are so worthy. Yes. Excellent. Sawa. So today is the 24th of August. 24th of August, 2017 at 10:14 a.m. I commission each one of you in this room. I commission you to go out there and communicate your worth, because you are worthy.